webinar enabling the streaming. Then I will share my screen. Hi, David, Sanjay.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Thanks. Okay, let's get started for today's community meeting. Here are the agendas. We have 4 topics. We will go through them one by one. The first is about KubeCon EU 2024 this year. The time is from March 19th to 22, basically about 3 weeks after now. So I would like to collect any demonstrations for this KubeCon because we will have a maintenance track, and also Feynman and Toddy will be there. So I would like that everyone to see any demos we can provide during that time frame. From my side, I have 2 proposals. One is, as you know, that we are working on the timestamping support feature. Although it is not released yet, but we have a private build ready from Patrick. So that private build can be used to sign and verify the timestamping signatures. So it is a good candidate for the KubeCon since it's a new feature, and also we will introduce a new library, TSP Client Go library, and this library actually is available for broader community to consume, not only from Notary Project community. So it will benefit the whole community, which will also have a good reputation for Notary Project. This is one for the feature timestamping support. Another one, I'm not sure we can do that, but the proposal is that we have another feature that Rakesh and Pritesh are working on, which is the sign blob. Is actually another epic feature for Notary Project. So currently we made some progress that we are aligned on the specification. I saw that PR just merged by Pritesh, and I think the specification in the CLI is also we don't have any major concerns on that. So I think with the spec basically ready, maybe we can consider either a private build, or if time is okay, we can have a beta release before the KubeCon so that we can also have this feature demo. So I would like to hear your comments on these 2 proposals, and also if you have other demos that you would like to see, is also welcome. Yeah. So any comments? And for the sign block, Pritesh, do you have any comments on the proposals?
If we're targeting March time frame, I think that would be difficult to have it ready by that, like by March 19th, up and working.
Do you mean it's hard to
complete
to do that?
implementation? Yes. It might be in progress. We might be able to hack something around that, but not really ready.
Is
We
it
want to do it.
possible? Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it possible to have a POC?
Oh,
So
yes, that
on
should
a
be
private build.
possible.
So if we can have a POC before the KubeCon, so we can at least we can show it as a demo. I think that will be good. So is a POC is possible, right? Pradesh.
Yeah, POC should be possible. 3 weeks, right? Yeah, roughly.
Okay, I think that is a good news. And Fim and Toddy, any comments on this? Because you will be in the KubeCon, and I think there are some preparation needed, right? If you want to demonstrate to the audience. Yeah, Fim, please.
Yeah, I am also expecting the POC of signing up to block because this expands the scope of the Notary project, especially the signing object. I have another idea which will leverage the signing block capability. So as I have seen a lot of open source project or community maintainers who are looking for block signing solution to sign their GitHub release assets. For KubeCon attendees, there are a lot of partnering communities and other CNCF projects. There might be a good opportunity to recommend the notation block signing to them. So I would like to propose another demo that will leverage the block signing. So we can use notation GitHub actions to sign GitHub release assets. When projects have released, they will release different kind of assets on their release page. So we can use notation GitHub actions in their workflow to sign their GitHub release assets. It will be easier for users to integrate notation in their release workflow. So if we can have a very rough or private build for block signing, that would be helpful. I can record a video or demonstrate it to a broader audience. The private build doesn't need to be very critical or production ready. We just need to, prove the concept to those community maintainers and showcase the basic functionalities of this feature and this scenario. So
Yeah,
I'd like
thanks.
to
Yeah, thanks, Fim.
when will us be ready to provide a private build for block signing, and so that I can start working on a pre-recorded video.
Yeah, thanks, Feynman. I think for the timestamping feature I mentioned, and also the sign block POC. So maybe what's the next step is that we can list the scenario that we want to demo, especially for sign block, because the implementation is just started, right? So maybe we can first align on the scenarios or cases that we want to demo, so that Pritesh can help to build a private build for the POC. Is that okay? Maybe Feynman, you can work with Pritesh on the cases, so that we can catch the basically 3 weeks time frame.
Sounds good.
Is that okay for you, Pritesh?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, thanks. Besides these two demos, any other things that from community you think you would like to see, or you would like to bring to the broader audience?
I have a question about time string. Will that be ready by that time?
No, for time stamping is also private built.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. I think later. We can share the scenario that we want to prepare for the KubeCon EU later. Yeah, and we will send it out, and you can review that. So, any other things you think is better for the KubeCon? So for this topic that we will share the scenarios later, and the payment will work with Predash later on sign block because the implementation is just started. We need to make sure the use cases can be we can do that in the KubeCon. And for other topics or anything else, feel free to share or in the Slack channel, or send the message to me. It's also fine. We can discuss that later. Okay, basically it's just it's about 3 weeks from now on. Okay, so that's for the first topic. If no more comments, we move to the next one. Next one is from Feynman. Over to you. You can drive the discussion.
Yeah, let me try to share my screen because I will need to switch to different page to share the solution.
Okay, I will stop sharing.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
I think I'm currently sharing the GitHub, the Notary Project.dev repository. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Let me find the original issue that has the most of the context that we discussed last time. So let me give a little bit context about the doc versioning control and the current implementation and solution for our discussion. So I think in January, we discussed the potential solution of the versioning of the documentation and also the website. Here I provided 3 approaches that we can use in our versioned website. The first one is that we can apply, we will only apply the version control to documentation. Other pages will still point to the default Notary Project.dev. And we will have a drop-down list to enable users to switch versions of the documentation. So here, this is a pull request of that of this feature, which provides a version control drop-down list for the documentation. And second, the documentation versioning will align with the notation CLI version. We will use, for example, v1.1, v1.0 to signal the version of the Notary Project documentation, because most of the documentation here are related to CLI, and the Notary Project is a generic brand that doesn't have a system versioning strategy. So that means we will inherits the notation CLI versioning strategy with the Notary Project documentation. The third point here is that we will have different branch and subdomains to support version control. Pritesh, I saw your hands up. I will finish my demonstration here, then hand it over to your question. Is that okay?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
Okay. The third point here is that we will use different branches and subdomains to support version control. For example, the default domain notaryproject.dev will always point to the current main branch of the notaryproject.dev, the website repository, which will this means it will use as the development branch for the upcoming release. Next, we will use the version as the prefix of the domain. For example, v1.1 dot notaryproject.dev, which will point to v1.1 documentation and website, and there will also be a version drop-down list that will be used to switch to different versions of the documentation. So, for example, when I click on this domain, as you can see, this will be used to point to the v1.1 documentation. And here we should have a switch that can be used to switch to different versions of the website and also the documentation. Let me show the drop-down list. So here, as you can see, we will have a drop-down list at the right top corner. Currently includes three options here. One, the default one is the main, which will points to the latest, or always a development version of the Notary Project documentation. v1.1, this will jump to the v1.1 documentation, and also we have v1.0. This will point to the v1.0 documentation. This is how this PR works for providing a documentation version switch on the website. So if maintainers, this proposal and the implementation look good to you, please review and comments on this PR. This was contributed by a contributor of the community. So Pritesh, please ask your question here.
I'm just curious, do we also need to have a minor version there? Like, I'm assuming unless there's a major version, everything is backward compatible and we will only keep on adding new features. So this versioning is to allow users to see which version has what features.
Sorry, could you rephrase your question?
Yeah,
I didn't
sure.
understood.
So,
Really?
like my question is, do we really need to have do we need to have different minor versions for documentation? If there's a minor version, my expectation would be notation is adding a new feature set, not breaking anything which currently works, right?
Yeah, correct. We have applied the versioning strategy to minor version. We separate the versions with the minor versioning because according to the according to our versioning strategy, we will only cut a new minor release when we have new feature added to notation.
So yes, so like the question is, if there's only minor version update and there's no breaking backward compatible features, so do we really need a version? The only purpose this documentation will serve is to identify what was there in 1.1 and what was added in 1.2 or 1.3 next version. That's the purpose of this documentation.
Correct. And
Okay.
in different minor versions, we might also deprecate some features, not only adding new features. Have a versioned doc and URL will avoid any broken links happen.
Makes sense, but don't you want to discourage people from using deprecated features, even though they are on, let's say, 1.0, and we deprecated something? Don't we want them to know that, okay, this is deprecated, please don't use it? Because if they start using that version website, they will see it supported, and when they update it later, they will see, oh, it's deprecated. So it's double the work on their side. He has his hand raised.
Yeah, I think if we only have the major version, the problem is that if user selects the major version, the content will change over time. But I think here the point is that with the minor version, it is aligned with the release of notation and the feature documentation accordingly. So it's it's kind of fixed the scope. So every time you select to the minor version, the content is always the same, aligned with the release.
Correct. The URL with the version prefix, this will be a historical, or we say fixed content that will not be changed according to our new release. For example, if we switch to v1/0, v1.0 version, all of the content here will only be aligned with notation v1.0 documentation. As you can see, the header, it reminds notation v1.0. But if you switch to v1.1, as you can see, the header, it points to v1.1, and all of those contents on the documentation page points to v1.1 documentation. Does it make sense, Yi?
Yeah, I'm with this minor version. Yeah.
Okay. I saw Sajid's question in the chat box. Yes, reply to Sajid's comment. This is the current behavior and design principle of this versioning strategy. If users choose v1.0, they will not see any commands and content related to v1.1. It will be only v1.0. We use different branches on the website repository to differentiate the content between different releases. Let me show you how it works. So here we have 3 branches which are corresponding to those 3 different URLs. So if we want to update v1.0, we just need to switch to the specific branch. I saw a comment from Akash about doc servers. Actually, on Notary Project website, we use another website generator tool named Hugo. So this is a different strategy. We use different branches to differentiate the content between different releases.
Thanks for the clarification, Feynman. I see it's different from Docusaurus. But in any case, if I'm understanding correctly, the notaryproject.dev website, the non-version website will point to the main branch documentation version. Would it be more appropriate to actually point to the last officially released version of the documents versus the unreleased main branch version? Or is that
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That's the strategy. And as you said, we should point out that the main branch or the default URL on the header, we should remind people that this is a development branch or development content, not a stable version. Or we say it is unreleased, as you may commented in the chat. So folks, any concerns here for our implementation of the version control?
I think Pritesh mentioned the deprecation. So yeah, I would like to, Pritesh maybe clarify that. So for me, I think if we using the minor version according to our release, so the document for that release, this is fixed. So it's very clear for the user which features are deprecated and which are the new features. And if users switch into a different minor version, it is also the same. So the scope is very clear for the users. So if we have a broader major version, then each time user select the major version, it pointing to the latest one. So sometimes there will be new features, sometimes some features are deprecated. So it will cause confusion when user referencing this document from some other place. So I think so for me, I'm with this minor version because the scope is the same and it can be referenced by different place. It is clear and it will not be changed. So I think we can first align whether if we align with this minor version approach, and as Akash and Femin, you just talk about that if the latest one is pointing to from the website pointing to the main, we should have a banner or some warning somewhere to notify the user that it is under development. Another minor things related to the PR. So if you click to, for example, if you click a minor version v1.1, sorry, not switching to the PR on that previous page, the demo page. If you click, for example, v1.1, can you click that?
I think it will point to v1.1 documentation site.
It's quite slow. I want to have the full page rendered. So this is the page rendered, right? But on the right side, we didn't see the version. How can users switch to other minor versions or the latest one? I mean, on this page.
Yeah.
On the right side, there is no version tab.
Yeah, correct.
Or drop down list. So I'm not sure this will be addressed by the PR, but anyway, I think user should be able to switch back to previous version or any other versions by selecting the versioning tab. Otherwise, user need to open a new tab, right? And select it again. This is just a minor comments to the PR.
Yeah, thanks, Yi. By design, we should have the version control switch on different versions of the website that will enable users switch back or switch to any specific version, right? This is
Yeah.
And this is by design that this PR only applies to the main branch, and this deployment review is only the main branch. So that means we will need to sync this PR to v1.1 and v1.0 branch, sync this PR to those different two branches. Then this switch will be available on each URL. So by design, this PR only available on the main branch preview. Later, if we agree with this change, I will sync this PR to another two branches. Then we'll be able to see the switches on v1.1 and v1.0.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any other comments.
Okay, I think if there's no concerns, I will stop my sharing and back to moderator Yi.
Okay, let me share the screen again. Okay, I think Feynman, for your topic, you also expect that maintainers in Notary Project websites should review this PR, right? Maybe Pritesh Wani, you can take a look and comment on this PR.
Yeah, I also shared the link of this PR in our chat, so maintainers can take a look when you are available. Thanks.
Okay, then we move to the next topic. It's about the governance follow-up. So let me switch to the .github repo. Yeah, so if I click the issues, so you see that we have nominations for new org maintainers from subprojects for Wani and myself. So I would like to see more comments on that. So we have some comments on these two nomination for supporting the nomination, but I think we still need more maintainers, org maintainers to comment. So I think Wani and Pradesh and from AWS side, we would like to see more comments on this nomination to me, and for the nomination Wani, I think we also need maybe Nias as org maintainers to also comment. So
Yes,
in
yeah,
short,
I get that.
yeah. So in short, we need org maintainers and also other some project maintainers. If you agree, you need to comment on these two issues. So those two issues have been opened for quite some time, so we need to speed up. This is one thing for the new nominations. Another thing for my proposal to move Justin Comac to emeritus, and also combine this issue with one comment from Nias. In this one, this issue was opened by David to replace Justin Comac with James. Nias has some comments, so he mentioned some potential change in the governance for some scenarios happened in the organ maintenance. So maybe Wani Pradesh, you can ask Nias to if he want to propose a change in the governance. So maybe he can create an issue or create a PR so that we can move forward on this. Is that okay, Wani or Pradesh? Could you help to talk to Nias about this so that we will align the way forward for the organ maintainers from Docker side?
What did you say? Did you say a PR has to be created?
Yeah, it depends on how Nias wants to address this because he has this comment. So one way is that the governance guides need to be refreshed for this scenario that Nias mentioned. The current governance guide only allows the sub-project to be nominated as organ maintainers. So yeah, so my ask is that Wani, you can maybe you can talk to Nias about his comment and to have a way forward so that he can bring his proposal in the community, then we can review and align the way forward.
Surely, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, thanks. That's for the nomination for the new organ maintainers and also the organ maintainers from Docker side. Another thing in this agenda is about inactive repository. As you know that in our current Notary project under the organization, we have quite a few sub-projects now. However, some projects, for example, if I view all repositories, so for example, the Notary project has not been active, and the TAF project is also not active, and also we align to create issues and tracking the milestones from each sub-projects because sub-project can have a different release cadency. So we also, since that time, we didn't work on the roadmap repo to create new issues. So these are the three sub-projects that are not active, and especially the one Notary project. So recently, if I click this sub-project, so recently there are many security issues, security vulnerabilities reported on this repository, and this was not handled by the Notary maintainers. You see the time is quite old, and also we also have some malicious issues you see here. It is not clear about this issue. What's the purpose for this issue created by someone? We don't know. So it's quite, I think, urgent that we need to come to alignment, consensus on archive the inactive repository to avoid any security advisories and malicious issues which will drag us over time. So, so if you all agree that we can start to archive the inactive repository one by one, I think we can starting from the Notary project first, since as you see, they are quite vulnerabilities and not handled by any maintainers. Any comments?
Should we just reach out to Justin or Docker on this before we archive Notary project? At least create an issue or drop their mail or message them at least.
Sorry, I didn't get your point, Pritesh.
Should we reach out to Docker or Justin Cormac for this? Like before archiving the Notary repo, they're still using Docker Content Trust and all that places. So should we reach out to them before we archive this?
Yeah, that's one thing we can do before the archive. We can reach out to Justin and maybe other maintainers. But the thing is that it's because as you see that it's quite some time this repository is not active. I think from the sub-project point of view, the maintainers should take some actions early, right?
I don't think that's the case, right? This project is deprecated.
So with that, we can move forward to archive this repository, right? David?
I mean, that's really up to the project, right? You know, I mean, years ago, the project decided to deprecate this in favor of notation. So I think it's unfair to sort of put it back on the maintainers of Notary and say to them, you're not doing your job, when it's the project that decided to move on.
So what's your suggestions for the next step?
That the Notary project should decide what to do. If this is a project that you want to continue to maintain, then you need to engage the maintainers of this project to do maintenance work. But if that seems to me that it would be a reversal of what the Notary project decided a few years ago when it moved forward with Notary V2 and notation. I mean, is this the project that the Notary CLI a repository that the Notary project wants to maintain and keep up to date and continue to release new versions?
I don't think that is the case. Maybe some other maintainers can comment. So that's the reason and the proposal that I put that we need to archive this repository. And by the way, we have let me switch back to our governance repository. We have a process repository. We have some archive process criteria listed here. I think Notary Project stuff and also the roadmap repository meet this criteria. Yeah, I saw your comments, Pritesh. Yes. An issue will be created for this vote. Yeah.
Yeah, let's open an issue and then maintainers and any user can comment.
Yeah, sure.
If there's like, you can just open an issue. If there's anyone has an objection, we can discuss that. Otherwise, we definitely after a month time frame, something like that. Well, archive it
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Yes. As Shui also pointed out, is also aligned with this archive process. We needed to create an issue and ask maintainers to vote and comment. The information I shared here is to let all the let the community to be aware that we have some repository there being inactive for quite some time, and we needed to take some actions. Okay, I think we basically, yeah.
I would just point out that yeah, I'm a bit confused as to what we're trying to achieve here, because you're asking, should we archive this? And then you're circling back to a document and a process that defines the life cycle of repositories. And, the very first item on that requirement is it has to be inactive for a year. And in the Notary Project, there was an merge 2 months ago. So I'm just confused as to like what are we trying to do here? What's to be accomplished here, and what's the motivation for it?
I think for any repository, if there are no active within a time frame, it will trigger a process of archiving.
Yeah, but right here on this, you're sharing the screen, right?
Yeah, yes, I'm sharing the screen.
It says no activity like pull requests for a year, and there was a merge 2 months ago in that repository, in the Notary repository.
I think it means the inactive doesn't mean that there's no any issues or PRs. It's just that the activity is very few, and also the maintainers is quite inactive. It doesn't mean nothing. Feynman, please go ahead.
Yeah, reply to David's question. Actually, as you can see, the PR merged in 2 months, within 2 months. That PR was actually raised 1 year ago and then merged 2 months ago. So that PR is not a good example to showcase that this repository is still active, because that PR itself spent more than 10 months to be merged into May. And it's also just a tiny change to the repository maintainer. If you can see the original PR, you will understand the context about this.
Yeah, this is my point. You all seem very clear on what you want to have accomplished, and now you're sort of bending the rules and the definitions of activity and all the, whatever you want to sort of get to the conclusion that you want. And you seem to be pinning it on the maintainers when it's the Notary Project itself, which has deprecated this repository years ago when it moved on and decided that notation was going to be the implementation of Notary V2 and not Notary CLI. And I'm just asking for sort of proper ownership of this decision and not trying to blame or, shove sort of, imposing will on other people. If this group wants to deprecate this repository, then it should own that decision and make that happen, not pin it on a group of people, not sort of scapegoat the Notary Project maintainers for past decisions of notary. Well, not scapegoat the Notary CLI maintainers or past decisions of the Notary Project leaders.
Totally, please.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what David is saying. Like maybe one thing we can do is like file an issue and write in the issue, look, we think that this project will be archived. I like it's good to have some rules, but like on one side, yes, David is correct. He's saying that okay, there is activity 2 months ago, so do we need to wait another year, right? And if I want to keep some project alive, I can go and every year before actually the term expires, I can file an issue in the project and keep it alive forever. So that I don't think that will work very easily. So I agree that we should make a decision and say, look, we are archiving this project and just write it down and say this will be archived at this date. And if everybody as a Notary Project maintainer agrees with that, then we just archive it. Is that what you're saying, David? That's what I understood, right?
Precisely, yeah. I think I'm not saying that it's wrong to archive this project at all. It probably is absolutely correct. I'm just saying this is the group that should own that and not sort of kind of try to post hoc justify the decision and place the responsibility on someone else.
Then I totally agree with you, and I see that Sajay also is.
I kind of see where maybe he and Feynman are coming from. They just want to be super cautious, but maybe we're letting that caution become more like I don't know, sitting on it for too long and not acting on it. That might be where the thing is. But yeah, I agree that this group is kind of like multiple times iterated. Just have a public issue and keep the archiving thing transparent. And if there is anything coming up along the way, we can always unarchive it. We're not deleting anything or losing any data. So
as long as we are transparent, I think like that should be fine.
Yeah, thanks. I think. Sorry,
just one quick thing. I think this whole process would also go a lot more quickly if once we get the Notary Project maintainers situation settled out. So just kind of circling back to that issue, if we could get maintainers to vote on those things so that we can get a proper cohort of maintainers in place, we could be a lot more decisive and move forward on these things.
yeah, I think that's true. Thanks, David. So, I think the next thing is that the next step is that we need to, for the org maintenance, the new nomination, and also maintenance from Docker, we needed to make a decision quickly for those pending issues. And for the archiving, we will follow the process to create an issue, and then org maintainers can vote later. So the thing here I share is that we have an urgency to do this. So just let the community know about that and also take actions accordingly. Okay, I think that's for the third topic. We only have 3 minutes for the last one. Let me switch to the issue. So actually, for the last one is about the OCI 1.1 release. As you may be aware that It was released 2 weeks ago, and I also created an issue for tracking the potential work items that we needed to do in order to support the 1.1 stable release, the OCI 1.1. So I list I asked some question here. Actually, they are related to features. For example, we have a experimental features for allow referrals API. And also currently our default is to when pushing signatures and listing signatures, we are using the referrals tag schema. And we use this experimental feature to enable the referrals API. So some questions I ask here, and also from registry point of view, because a notation as a client needs to interact with registry. So how the popular registry in the market moving towards OCI 1.1. For example, for the ECR, so maybe one need Pradesh, you will have more information about the ECR. What's the plan for supporting OCI 1.1? So there are some questions I listed here, and because we don't have much time today, maybe from the community you can comment on this issue to see. Besides this, since we need to sort out anything else, we need to consider so that with that we can have a concrete plan and also the issues, work items accordingly for supporting 1.1. So that's the purpose for this.
I would comment on that. Like, we don't need to wait for adoption, right? Even if one list is supported, we can move that feature from experimental to a main feature, because it's behind a flag. So users has to be explicit about using this feature set. Also, I have one follow-up question on that. Is there any delta between the 1.1 release and the current implementation we have for reference API?
From referrals API itself, so maybe Shui, you can comment. But today we don't have much time now. So maybe Pradesh, any other maintainers, you can ask questions or comments in this issue, then we can discuss that. Is that okay? We can finalize this maybe next week. Okay. I saw, thumbs up. So we are out of time, and thanks for for joining this meeting. We will see you next time. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.